Okay, let's start. Yeah, welcome everyone. Um, my presentation will be short, around 10-15 minutes, because I want to have some time for question and answer, and we can have more discussion around that. So let's start. Today we're going to explore how collaborative testing can transform your team mindset and processes, driving both higher quality and stronger collaboration. And actually why building effective processes make a real difference and how they help us deliver high quality products on time. But before I dive into my presentation, let me introduce myself. So my name is Zhasmina Boycheva. Right now, I'm head of quality assurance at Cogito. I have around 30 quality assurance professionals reporting to me, and I bring more than 22 years of experience in the field of quality assurance. Most of my career has been spent in Norway, where I worked for Opera Software for 9 years, followed by roles in various Norwegian startups and mid-sized companies. And through my journey, I have worked with teams of different sizes and members, gaining exposure to a wide range of processes and practices, even before Agile. So today I want to share some of that experience and talk about collaborative testing. Maybe we can go to yes, thank you. What is collaborative testing? First and foremost, I want to emphasize that the product quality is a shared responsibility, and so is testing. So collaborative testing is about cross-functional cooperation that happens through the software development lifecycle. And why does collaboration testing matters? Yeah, maybe the next slide. When testing becomes a shared effort, bugs are found early in the process. Developers test better because they understood the user impact, and product owner write clear stories with well-defined acceptance criteria. To make it more practical, I have kind of developed a framework that I call it 4 pillars of quality, and I want to present that to you right now. For me, the first pillar of quality is the product owner. And this is a vital bridge between the business and the development team. Their main responsibility is to define clear and accurate user stories. All questions shall be addressed and answered before actually the development begins. And that's why we have all this refinement meeting in Agile that really helps to clear all the question marks. And really the quality starts here. Not from the tester team, but really starts here. And I have seen many examples, not a lot, but many, where well-defined user storage with detailed acceptance criteria as much as possible, that the whole team sit together, read the user story, define the acceptance criteria, actually make the work of both developers and testers significantly easier afterwards. And when everyone knows exactly what needs to be done, the path of quality becomes much smoother. So the second, yeah, this one. So the second pillar of quality for me is the developer. This is a person who transforms user stories into working software, of course, using modern technologies. And here I want to emphasize that they are developers that are really quality focused. They write unit tests and ensure that their code behaves as expected and delivers testable, reliable code to the tester team. And I have worked with such developers who actually go the extra mile. They care deeply about the quality, collaborate with the tester, and even help with the defining of test cases. And really, this kind of proactive and collaborative development process really result in a really high quality code and much smoother testing cycles. And of course, we're coming to the third pillar of the quality. This is the tester. The tester plays a critical role in ensuring both functional and non-functional aspects of the application are validated. Testers may specialize in manual testing or automation testing, And the next slide will be as I really see them as two distinct roles, each requiring why, because each of them requires different skill set and focus areas. Manual tester, they really focus on validating and verifying the software. They need to think and to design and execute complex test cases and identifying edge cases or potential issues that could impact user in the real world environments. An automation tester, on the other hand, the focus is different. They really need to automate these manual tests and really make sure that they're stable, reliable, fast, and accurate. And the goal is to reduce the time and effort needed for regression testing and to help shorten release cycles. And really important, again, for the automation test, that they need to be trustworthy, to not see a lot of flaky tests. So when the automated tests are trustworthy, and you can say if actually the product works as expected or no. And then we're coming to the fourth pillar of quality. This is the process. Actually, the process for me is the glue that holds everything together. A well-designed process organizes the team, aligns effort, and ensures the delivery of high-quality product on time. And let me share a real-world example of a process we implemented on a project where the goal was to improve release quality. It was a small project. We have 12 people in the team, including 3 QAs. And before we implement this process, they experienced that after every release, followed immediately by hot fixes because there was critical production issues. So definitely we needed to change, and we start changing the process. So as I mentioned, we had 12 people, 3 QAs on the team. We decided to have monthly releases. So, and that gave us the structure, allow us to have like defined 3 weeks of development and testing and 3 days of code freeze and final testing and prepare for the release. And here in my presentation, I focus mainly what the tester team needs to be focused during development and the code freeze. On the other hand, the developers have their own, like a small process, how they can create the branches where they need to merge different test environments, different code reviews, and etc. For here, during the development, manual tester writes test cases for each task. So every single task in the sprint needs to be tested and verified before we close the sprint. And of course, on dedicated environments. And if a task is under test and they find problems, these problems needs immediately to be escalated to the whole team on a daily basis. I even call that as a daily triage. And then here during the sprint depends if you for the automation tester, if there's something that task is ready during the sprint to be automated, he can start doing that. If not, he can use his time and automate tasks from previous sprint or added regression tests so to strengthen coverage. And during the code freeze, the next slide, here again I split the responsibility what the manual tester needs to do and what automation tester in these 3 days that we have. Manual tester again execute all written test cases, like verify the stories and perform additional regression testing. And automated tester needs to run the full suite in dedicated environments. And this actually is very important, specifically if you have a mobile application, and we did that. This was a mobile application supporting Android and iOS. And when you do a mobile development in releases, it's very hard to force the end user to update if you have some critical production issue. If it's a web application, you can update faster, but for the mobile, it's really important and crucial to take your time and to reduce production problems. So implementing this process really reduces the post-release issue nearly to zero. So now maybe you're wondering how you can build a process like this for your own team. Maybe I can share some few practical tips to help you get started. First of all, really define your goal. What are you trying to achieve? Why do you need a process? As I mentioned, I have worked in different projects in different company sizes. There are some cases where you may not need that type of process. You in the first phases in the startup that you can try different ideas. You want faster releases. In that case, you may not include QAs in your process. So my second point is right, consider team size and structure. So you need to tailor your process to your team, how many people you have on the team and their roles. Engage stakeholders. Involve key team members and decision makers early. And start small and iterate. Begin with a simple process that fits your team culture. And as the team grows, the process can evolve. It's not like written in stone. The process needs to support the team to deliver a high quality product. And ultimately, it's not just about having a process, it's about having the right process for your team. Yeah, so that brings me to my key takeaways I want to leave you with today. This is,
Zhasmina,
yeah, I think,
I have a slide that was missing.
yeah, that's okay. That's my old slide.
Yeah. So I have the version of the slide.
That's perfect.
Uh,
But really, one of the biggest key takeaway I really want to emphasize the quality share responsibility. Every single person on the team needs to be responsible of the quality. That's why in my presentation I took away like quality assurance engineer, because just using this word, sometimes people believe that we are responsible for the quality. No, the testers are responsible only to say if there's a quality in the product or no. So everyone is responsible. And build a process that fits your team size, goals, and culture. And make sure everyone is on board. And a good process not only improves quality, but also empowers the team to continuously improve. What I really found in the process I share with you, the team at the beginning was kind of against that process, and everyone is against changes. But after a while, after a couple of months, they start enjoying that, and even they start proposing improvements, and they kind of saw the value in that.
I think this raises the first question that I have. You just mentioned that everyone
Yeah,
hates changes. Okay.
yeah, everyone hates changes, true.
Changes. This is almost a human nature characteristics. People don't like that their cheese is being moved, we say in Hebrew.
Yeah.
There are changes. So if you got into a new, even if you don't, not even a new company, if you got into a new job, okay, a new role, or you're being promoted, and you realize the process is not working well enough, how would you advise someone to start with the process, understanding that people are not going to like it to begin with? How did you did that magic of people complaining at first,
Well,
initially?
in that case, I was hired as a head of quality assurance, so I have the authority to do that, right? So it depends what role you are right now and what you can do about that. So if you have the authority to implement a process and that was your responsibility to bring such process in the team, then it's easy. Then you are together with the team leads and it was more easy. But if, for example, a tester and you want to see some changes, then it can be a little bit harder because you need to bring communication and cooperation. Uh, it can be a bit harder, but not impossible. And this really is a culture. I believe this takes time to developers and the product owner to understand that the quality starts with them and to not put the whole effort on the testers. And I believe still a lot of developers don't know what the tester, how much effort and time actually one manual QA needs to perform to make sure that everything is accurate, is testable, is release ready. So for the automation, I don't think they have clue about that time and the effort. for the tester, and why I think this process is mainly needed for the tester side as well, but for as well for everyone, I believe, on the team.
But I will ask, I want to address what you just said. But again, from your experience, we commonly hear about all team testing and the fact that there's no longer QA teams in some companies, and the fact that working pure agile and all of those terms. Do you think this is still the case, that devs don't understand testing or don't understand it enough?
Again, I could say that developers and the manual, if I talk about manual, like if you have real senior manual care that have more than 10 years and experience and have experience with different projects, their mindset is different than developer's mindset. So the developer can test something and okay, I am doing here the happy path. I can do some two, three negative test cases and that's enough for, but if you're real senior, you can think so many different use cases, scenarios that the developer don't want to think maybe and don't have the experience to think in that way.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think, by the way, that this is why sometimes there is a change in the role in those cases where they dismantled QA teams, but they put one QA in a team of developers. So it's a little bit about educating devs. They're not going to be as good. As Mike said, it takes time to build this muscle.
Yeah. It takes time, and not every developer actually is eager. As I see, like automation, QAs. Oh, I'm not interested or not eager to do manual work. I want just to write code. So I think most of the developers, bigger percentage of developers, they just want to write code, right? They don't want to put their effort in something that they don't see value immediately. So it's really matter of how we build your team. What is your goal? What do you want to deliver? If you want to deliver high quality code, you need to have a developers that care about quality as well. So there's no way around. And if you want to build a culture that developers have care about, it just takes time and effort and education.
100% agree. I will refer to our first session of today. You were all asleep back in that, because that was early in the EU.
Yeah, it was.
We
Yeah.
had a session about, as I mentioned, we're going to share the recording, so you can refer to that later on. Anyone who is interested, they're asleep now, so we're splitting time. We had a session about building a community, a quality community across the organization, and exactly from that point that you start with potentially fellow QAs who care about quality, but then you find those people within other roles in the organization, devs, product owners, analysts.
Yeah.
And then you start building that concept that quality is everyone's business, because it's
Yeah,
not.
it's everyone's business. And that's why I didn't want to put quality assurance in my presentation, because this is a tester and the quality is everyone's job.
Agree. This is, I think a lot of our sessions today, it's just that it's not very clear. Lisa Crispin spoke a few hours ago about the titles. Are we testers, quality assurance, quality engineers?
Yeah. That's confusing him.
And it's exactly this. It's about the fact that it doesn't really matter what are you titled. It's about the fact that it's everyone's jobs. But it is our job to help people understand that everyone should care about quality, because historically and traditionally, that was the tester's sole responsibility. I think back in the days, that they were handed over once development was done, and then, okay, now it's code freeze, now it's QA time to shine. But in reality, as you mentioned, they should be involved
Yeah.
very
I've been
earlier
there.
stages.
And
Before.
the biggest one for me was when there's a production problem and issue, why the QA didn't find that? How come? And when there's everything is okay, it's kudos to the developers. But when there's a problem, why the QA didn't find that problem, which is so unfair. That's why I keep saying the quality is responsible for everyone on the team. If there's a problem, we are coming as a team resolve that problem. If there's everything is okay, we are coming as a team and take the prize.
I think before we're closing the session, Yasmina, I want you to repeat that sentence. I think this is the essence of what we're trying to convey in this session. Quality is everyone's responsibility, and it's a team sport.
Yes, a team sports, definitely.
Okay, and I think this was a brilliant summary for our session, for your session, but also for the event, is the fact it's not that dev is doing the development and QA is in charge of finding issues. No, that's the entire team responsibility. And this is a little bit on us to help educate this. So I want to thank you for giving this
Thank
session.
you so much for inviting me.
I want to thank you all for being with us. There is contact information. We're going to share the recordings later in this week. Thank you for being with us. Thank you all for taking the time and effort to give those sessions, to join us. And I hope you learned something new. I know my brain is blowing because I've had 11 different sessions today because I joined throughout the day. See some recordings and learn some more stuff from the other time zone. And I hope you did enjoy and learn. Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of the day.